You know, thinking about what you've been exploring, it strikes me this almost universal drive we seem to have to gain something, right? More wealth, maybe better health. We pour so much effort into it, and yet, well, sometimes it feels like the harder we try, the further those things get. It's a strange feeling, that friction.
It is a very familiar struggle for many, I think.
Yeah.
It's almost like a gardener who's too anxious,
Yeah.
pulling at a little seedling, hoping it'll grow faster. But that very eagerness, that intensity, can sometimes do more harm than good. There's a certain rhythm to growth.
Yeah.
You know, it asks for a different kind of attention.
Exactly, a different attention. And I've been thinking about this Buddhist idea, pratityasamutpada, dependent origination. The idea that everything's connected, right? Not just separate things happening, but like a web constantly flowing. So maybe when we focus only on wealth or only on health as these isolated goals, we're missing something deeper, like those underlying currents that actually shape things. You mentioned feeling that interconnectedness yourself, didn't you? How one area seemed to pull on the others.
Absolutely. It's, imagine you're in a boat
Oh.
trying to row against a really strong river current. If you only stare at where you want to go and ignore the river itself, its power, its direction, well, you can row until your arms ache, put in massive effort, but you might barely move. You might even go backwards. This idea of dependent origination, it just highlights that our efforts, they always happen within this bigger web of conditions. And ignoring that web, well, that often leads straight to burnout and frustration.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like we're obsessed with the fruit on the tree, the beautiful branches, the obvious signs of success or vitality. But we forget about the roots and the trunk. Reading your thoughts on this, it made me wonder, isn't our physical health kind of like the root system? Giving everything that essential grounding, that nourishment, and maybe inner peace, that sense of being centered. Maybe that's the strong trunk, allowing everything else to grow from it.
That's a beautiful way to put it, a very insightful metaphor. Because if the roots aren't deep, if they're weak, maybe neglected, then no matter how impressive the branches look for a little while, it's not sustainable, is it? The vitality isn't truly there, it's superficial.
And that connects to Taoist ideas too, doesn't it? This concept of qi, this vital life energy that flows through everything. They say when it flows well, smoothly, it brings health, clarity, even abundance. But if it gets blocked or chaotic, things just stagnate. Thinking about my own routines, it made me ask myself, how are we actually treating this flow in our own lives? Are our habits, our choices, are they helping it or creating jams?
That's a very important question to reflect on. How do you really nourish your body? Not just food, but rest, mindful movement, and your time, your energy. How are they allocated? Does it feel expansive, life-giving, or does it feel draining? And resources too. Is there a sense of ease of circulation, or is it more about holding on tight, a feeling of scarcity? These are all ways Kai shows up in our lives.
It links to another concept, doesn't it? From Buddhism, again, avidya, ignorance. But not like not knowing facts.
Yeah.
More like a fundamental misunderstanding of how things really are. Failing to see the interconnectedness we were just talking about. Acting in ways that are kind of out of sync with reality. Like someone might chase money relentlessly, sacrificing their health, thinking that will bring happiness eventually. But they're blind to how the stress and exhaustion are actually destroying their quality of life now. Your own experiences with burnout seem to touch on this.
Precisely that. Or think of someone obsessed with a specific fitness goal, pushing their body to the limit, but completely ignoring their emotional well-being or their need for real connection with others. That narrow focus, that lack of seeing the whole picture, that's avidya, and it breeds imbalance and often a deeper kind of suffering. It really invites that self-examination. How does my own attitude, my perception of cause and effect actually shape the reality I'm living in with my body, my time, my resources?
It really feels like dropping a stone into a perfectly still lake. That first disturbance, the ripples spreading out, our thoughts, our actions, they create these waves in what could be a much calmer state.
Yes.
And when you think about persistent negative stuff, like constant worry or fear, those feel like heavier stones, right? Creating bigger, more disruptive waves.
Yes. And mindfulness, that practice of just gently watching our thoughts, our feelings, without getting caught up or judging them.
Yeah.
That becomes the way we allow the water to settle again, to see the ripples, understand them, but not be swept away. It helps clarify how our inner world shapes the outer one. You were exploring that with stress management, weren't you?
Yeah, because Buddhist teachings also point out that if we become more aware of our habits, our mental loops,
Yeah.
we can spot the ones that are actually working against us. Like if someone constantly thinks there's not enough, this feeling of scarcity, could that focus itself be somehow attracting more of that scarcity feeling?
Yeah.
It's subtle, but it feels powerful. The energy we put out.
And what's fascinating is how closely this echoes Taoist wisdom. Aligning ourselves with the Tao, the natural way of things, Laozi's words, from the Tao Te Ching. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. That speaks volumes about trusting life's inherent rhythm, its unfolding. When we try too hard, try to force things, control everything, we usually just meet resistance.
That story you shared about the farmer really stuck with me. The one working himself into the ground, endless toil, but his crops just wouldn't thrive.
Yeah.
And it was only when the old sage told him to step back, let the land rest, follow its cycle, that abundance actually returned. It's that upside down logic, isn't it? Sometimes the best action is less action, or maybe a different kind of action, one that's in tune with things. It definitely makes you pause and think, where in my life might I be pushing too hard, rowing against the current?
And this leads us to a really crucial point, I feel. Understanding these ideas intellectually is one thing, but actually living them, weaving them into our daily lives, that's where the real shift happens. It's about finding that delicate balance between effort, intention, and surrender, receptivity. It's like a dance, you could say. A dance with the universe, where we're both leading and following.
A dance. I like that. And it keeps going, doesn't it? We've talked about why striving for wealth and health can feel so difficult sometimes, but what about flipping the perspective? What if we already have the richness, the well-being we're looking for in some real way, but maybe we just can't see it clearly yet? Like, we need to adjust our focus.
That adjustment often starts with gratitude and a deeper self-awareness. Think about that mirror metaphor again. The idea that the universe tends to reflect back the energy we send out. It resonates strongly with the Buddhist concept of karma, not fate, but the results of our actions, our intentions, our thoughts rippling outwards. So what energy do you notice coming back to you in your own life? Is it mostly tinged with fear, with lack? Or is there more trust, a sense of inherent okayness, maybe even abundance?
That really pushes you to look at your core beliefs, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
About wealth, about health. Am I operating from this deep down assumption of scarcity? Like, there's never quite enough to go around. Or is there a possibility of believing in, well, abundance, a fundamental trust in life? Because those underlying beliefs, they must shape things significantly.
Oh, absolutely. If someone's default is scarcity, they might see every opportunity, mainly in terms of what could go wrong, what could be lost. That leads to hesitation, maybe missed chances. But if the underlying belief is one of abundance, it fosters more openness, doesn't it? A willingness to engage, to see possibilities. Simple practices like consciously noticing things to be grateful for, or maybe even affirmations focused on vitality and abundance, they can gently, over time, start to shift those deeper patterns.
Gratitude feels especially powerful there. Your story about getting through that difficult time by deliberately focusing on gratitude, that was really compelling. It's almost like just acknowledging what's already good, even the small things. It shifts your whole energy.
Yeah.
Makes you more open to noticing more good things.
Yes. From a Taoist view, you could say gratitude helps keep the Kai flowing smoothly. When we appreciate what is, we're less likely to create blockages with, excessive wanting or grasping. It's a way of honoring the energy that's already present, already circulating.
And it's more than just thinking it or writing it down, isn't it? It seems like expressing it makes a difference. Actually telling someone you appreciate them, or doing something kind, or just being really present with someone. Those actions seem to amplify the feeling.
They do. And here we find a fascinating paradox, really. The paradox of seeking. So often, the external things we chase, more money, perfect health, they're actually just reflections of inner qualities we already possess, perhaps just underdeveloped. Wow. It connects to that Buddhist idea of Tathagata, or the sort of Buddha nature, the potential for enlightenment hidden within everyone, and the Taoist idea that the Tao, the way, isn't out there, but right here within us. We spend so much energy seeking out there for something that's already in here.
So the focus shifts then, from this constant outward chase to more of an inward exploration, finding fulfillment inside instead of trying to patch up a perceived lack with external stuff. It really invites a personal redefining, doesn't it? What does wealth really mean to me? What does health truly feel like, away from all the societal noise, based on my own deep values?
Exactly. And it's crucial to remember, this isn't some straight line. It's not a simple A to B journey. There will be times of imbalance, times when striving feels right, and times when stillness is needed. That's natural. But the underlying truth, the potential for wholeness, that's always there within you.
So the invitation really becomes about embracing the flow, the natural unfolding of life. Through mindfulness, like you said, just being aware in the moment, through gratitude for what is, through trusting that flow, that wu-wei idea, doing without forcing, and ultimately connecting more deeply with our own inner wisdom.
And perhaps the deepest kind of wealth isn't what we accumulate for ourselves. Perhaps it's found in what we give, what we contribute, sharing whatever unique gifts you have. That's a very powerful way to connect with abundance, with purpose.
So maybe life isn't meant to be this constant struggle uphill. Maybe it's more like that dance you mentioned, something to be experienced, maybe even enjoyed. And the secrets to wealth and health, maybe they're not complicated formulas after all. Maybe they're simpler, more fundamental, accessible through the kind of wisdom we've been exploring today.
Indeed. Perhaps the greatest secret is simply recognizing the richness that is already here, around you, and within you.